What's up, guys? We are back in our shop after an amazing event that Precision Drift held over at Ozark International Raceway. And overall, the car did really well. I brought 4 sets of tires with me, and we didn't even go through a fourth of the first set. We had a bit of a front-end collision over here. The bash bar got kind of mangled and shoved in. The headlight's a little messed up, and this fender right here is, you know, it's messed up. And the collision messed something up somewhere in my front suspension because my alignment is off. The wheel is now turned a little bit more to go straight, but it's okay. We'll be able to fix that. On top of that, we had some cooling issues. The car was running a bit hot all day, even overheating at some points. And I don't think it was a blown head gasket. There wasn't really any smoke coming out the back. It didn't really smell like I was burning coolant. I was running water, so it shouldn't have smelled like I was burning coolant. So I went ahead and bought some items that I hope can fix that. So up first on my table of parts, we have a GK Tech 350Z coolant swirl pot setup. These setups are actually really cool. I don't know if you can tell, but the inlets are kind of angled against the wall. And this is really cool because as it has the whirlpool effect, the water and the air separate. So this doubles as extra cooling because as the air separates, it cools down the coolant and it'll bleed back down to the bottom radiator hose. So this will save a lot of time with bleeding the car in between events, and it'll help with cooling. Now moving on, this wasn't necessary, but I thought I might as well grab it anyway because I'm gonna end up running one later on. This is a Grassroots Performance 19-row oil cooler kit. This is pretty self-explanatory. It cools oil, and that is important because if you have too hot of oil, it'll break down its lubricating properties. So you won't really have as much lubrication. You can have engine shavings. It can lead to premature engine failing. All that good stuff. Now that leads us on to the final thing. This was the most expensive thing by far. This is a couple gauges that I got from Innovate Motorsports. The first one up top is just an oil pressure and oil temperature sensor, which can be set aside. That's not necessarily super important, but I thought I might as well grab it because the stock oil pressure sensor in the Z is starting to do some wonky things. But this right here, this is like the holy grail to me. So this is Innovate Motorsports dual bank lambda O2 sensor system, and it also comes with the LC2, kind of like a standalone ECU for O2 sensors, which is super cool. And what this guy does is it takes the O2 sensor readings and you can change the outputs so that it reads like a narrowband sensor. So hypothetically, I could run this with my stock ECU and have no issues, which is super cool. I thought I might as well grab this setup because I eventually want to go boosted with a standalone, but I didn't want to spend all that money right now. So this was the next best thing. This was about $400 for the whole kit, but I'm really excited to see how this really works. Anytime you're working anything under the hood or anything electrical, you're gonna wanna remove the battery. It's just your safest option. You don't wanna fry anything, you don't wanna shock yourself. And I need a new ground terminal because this one just slides right off, but that's for another day. The first line that I'm gonna route is the bleed line. So the top point where you're gonna be bleeding the coolant from is from the stock bleeder port right here. And the little thing that you screw off gets replaced by this fitting right here. So you can run the line from here to there. So hypothetically, it should just thread in there, and that is way too small. This is the wrong size fitting. This is why I always test everything before making any cuts or anything that you cannot go back from. Since we're moving on from the swirl pot, we're gonna go ahead and install the Grassroots Performance 19-row oil cooler. First things first, we're gonna drain the oil. 3, 2, 1. All right, no water. So I believe our head gasket should be good if there's no water. Yeah, there's no green tint or anything. I'm not seeing any metal shavings. So next step is to put the oil sandwich plate on, and you're just gonna take a little bit of oil on your finger and rub it around the O-ring. And this helps it create a better seal, all that jazz. I don't know if it's a myth or not, but I've done it with every single oil filter, and I don't think I'm gonna stop now. So the sandwich plate goes on like so. This is in the middle of it and centers it and tightens it on there. And while we're down here, I'm gonna go ahead and make sure that these fittings are tight because sometimes they are not. Oh, they were not tight. Those are tight, and now we can start running our lines. Now the reason I'm running my lines first before actually mounting the oil cooler is because on pre-made kits like this, the line length really determines where you can put the oil cooler. So I'm thinking I should mount it to the radiator support because I should have it behind the bash bar. I don't crash often, but when I do, it's usually the front of my car getting ran into or me running into someone else. So I would like to have the oil cooler behind the bash bar if possible to prevent a huge oil spill on the track. So I have everything somewhat mounted. I mounted this with zip ties because I don't have a threader to thread the holes to drill into the bash bar. So this will have to do for now. Hopefully I'll have it fixed by event time, but if not, this is in there. It's not coming out unless I get into a really hard collision, which would suck. I am still at a bit of a loss on what to do about the swirl pot. I'm gonna see if I can find an adapter at a hardware store or at O'Reilly's later on. But for now, I'm gonna get into mounting the oil pressure sensor, the oil temperature sensor, and the gauge and fuse box that I have for it. Also, I found my lights, so we have much better lighting. So one of the most annoying parts about cars is that when you think you're done, you're not. So we're gonna have to take at least this part of the assembly back apart so that we can mount everything. So like we said before, this is the sandwich plate. I'm going to route the temp sensor in this way, and then the oil pressure sender will be on the other side. And since this is just an open sandwich plate, we don't need to worry about when it opens or when it closes because it's always open. This one can just thread in like so. That's gonna touch for sure. But yeah, that's as far as I can get that in there, which is like half a thread. Okay, so Dr. Google said it will be perfectly fine for that to be touching it. It's not gonna mess anything up. But I did notice that there is a side from the engine and a side from the cooler on the sandwich plate. And this is important because the pressure can be on either side, it doesn't matter, pressure is pressure. But the temperature, I need to be coming from the engine so I can get an accurate reading of what's coming out of the engine. So now that we have our setup, I'm going to clean this of any and all contaminants and then install it back in the car. So I just finished wiring the sensors through the engine bay, and I'm going to show you how I did it because running wires can be pretty tricky if you're new to it. So I have them both coming out the sandwich plate, and I'm running them on the far side of the air conditioning lines. And by far side, I mean the side closest to the frame rails. And that's because I don't want any of these belts catching either one of these wires and ripping them out. So as they come up through here, I'm wiring them through the passenger side of the cabin. So I poked a hole through this grommet and ran them through that. And then just to keep it clean, I'm going to run them up with these hoses and then these wires through this grommet right here. And while we're up here, I'm going to go ahead and set up my fuse box that I bought so that we can run everything from one central location and run it the right way with 5 amp fuses. Alright, aside from heat shrinking this, we are all good to go and hop on the inside. I'm gonna route them under here, all the way up to over here. So here's the finished product from my fuse block with the switch. I still need to wire the other side of the switch to the main power line. But the idea is that the main power line comes up through the switch and then it diverts off into these 5 amp fuses because the gauges should only pull 3 amps. So a 5 amp fuse should be plenty. Okay, so the GoPro overheated again, but I got everything in. It's all wired up and ready to go. So all we have to do left is fill the car with oil. But I did end up leaving the O2 system alone because I misread it and it's only 1 output from this, not 2. So there's 2, but they don't read the same voltages and they don't read the same range that I need it to read to be able to run with the stock ECU. So this right here is probably gonna have to wait until we have a standalone ECU. The Z, as far as I know, has the stock tune on it, so there's really no need for this to be in there anyway. The ECU hasn't really been messed with at all. So the Z is still safe without this. I just wanted this for extra peace of mind, but I'm fine without it. All right, I'm gonna put you guys on to an old hack. This has been around since the dark ages. So if you don't have a funnel or you don't want to buy a funnel, just take an old bottle, cut it up, shove it right there. You got a funnel. All right, now it's time to see if my wiring works. We're gonna flip the switch to on and see if it powers up. Oh, it worked. Oh yeah, I'm happy with that. I really want to take it for a test drive, so we're gonna get it on the ground, get it running, and take it out for a little spin. That is so cool to me. No leaks. I think we're good. So it looks like it works. I'm gonna do one more check to see if any oil is leaking from anywhere. Make sure I tighten everything down. Oh, we're leaking. We're gonna pull out a jack and check to see what's leaking. Hopefully it's something easy I can fix with some sealing tape. Found it. So it's coming from the oil temperature sensor like I thought it would. We're gonna fix that when we come back tomorrow with some sealing tape. I stopped by Napa and grabbed 2 fittings that will hopefully work to make the GK Tech swirl pot kit work, because that is the one thing that I need to work before the next event. But before I try to get the swirl pot kit working, I'm gonna go ahead and fix our oil issue real quick. So this temperature sensor was our problem child that was leaking. So we're gonna take a little bit of sealant tape. This is good for oil and gasoline and pretty much everything, and wrap it around the threads so that it will actually seal it. All right, that should do the trick. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this, but these are not really the same pitch, but they are the same size. So I think we can make this work. I don't recommend doing it this way by cross-threading it and just loading it up with a ton of sealant tape. This should work for a temporary fix right now. And I know it's just water, but I still don't want to spill it all over the floor because it'll make a mess for me to lay in. Oh, fudge. That is not what I meant to do. There we go. Dude, I'm soaking myself. That was a whole lot messier than I intended. We're gonna go ahead and install the swirl pot now. So I just got everything fully set up out the car in a way that I can just put it in and go, but I wanted to show you guys how everything is routed first. Here's the swirl pot. The second to highest one will run from here down straight to the bleeder valve. So the bleeder valve comes up, shoots the air and water mixture in here. It swirls and separates. The air gets shoved out through the overflow valve, and the cooled, separated coolant goes back down all the way over to the bottom hose line. The second to top one goes all the way over to the radiator cap, because if it spews out the top where the radiator cap is, it'll add to the whirlpool effect, and it'll also separate there. So now it's just a matter of getting everything bolted down. So we have the swirl pot hooked up. We have the oil cooler situated. All we have left is to fill everything, take it for a test drive, and see how it does. And if it all works out just fine, then we're gonna see what happened with the front end, see if we can fix it, and then give it an alignment. We're gonna go ahead and fill it all the way up with water so we can see if the swirl pot kit actually works or not. Hopefully it does, because I don't want to be stuck I don't want to be stuck bleeding everything over and over and over again. That would be worst case scenario. We're gonna hope that everything works out. Yeah, it's really good. Oh yeah, I forgot to say I bought a trailer. You said what?
Get the rust and stuff, maybe?
Yeah, I know how to do that.
Okay, yeah, this is a lot better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
It's wide enough for your thumb?
Oh yeah. I'm thinking about
Trimming the purple?
doing the trim purple. Yeah, like the Z, and then doing the wheels white.
Okay.
And then maybe doing the these purple too. Okay, so the swirl pot is installed. It's all done and ready to go, and it works perfectly. I think my little fix for now worked. So now that everything works, the last thing we have to fix before we can take it on a test drive is the combination lights, because the way they work right now is illegal. So I will see you guys back in the shop. Okay, so this is how I originally wired them up, and what I need to do is snip the blue wire and the red wire and switch them because I have them backwards. Oh, that's painful. All right, test drive time. All right, let's see if there's any leaks now. I think we're good. Oil pressure still looks good. Temperature still looks good. I think we can call that a win. So now that we've gotten everything installed and fixed, it is time for one of the most important parts of a drift car, and that is the alignment. Now before, you were stuck with two options. Trying to find an alignment shop would be the first one, and most alignment shops will never touch a drift car. Or the second option was using really inaccurate toe plates. I could never get anything close to right with them. Now luckily I was sent this new product to try out, and it's called the Gyroline, and this thing is wicked cool. Now the Gyroline right here, it turns your phone into a mobile alignment rack, meaning you can do your alignment anywhere you want to as long as you're on flat ground. And this is especially cool to me because it'll tell you everything from toe, camber, caster, and Ackerman. You can go all the way up to 0.05 degrees of precision, and they are working on putting something out to get you within 0.01 degrees of precision. Now the way you use Gyroline is really simple. They made it super simple so anybody could use it. So once you buy one, you can download their app, and it looks something like this. And once you have the app installed, all you have to do is put your phone inside the holder and crank it down to tighten it so it does the alignment perfectly. So now that we have it all set up, let's actually put it to use. This is what our alignment looks like now without adjusting anything, and that is absolutely terrible. We have negative 2.6 degrees of toe out on the front passenger side, 3.4 in on the front driver's side, 0.7 degrees in on the rear driver's side, and 1.5 out on the rear passenger side. That is not at all what we want. What we want is a little bit of toe out on the front, so maybe 5 degrees total, and maybe 1.5 degrees absolute max in on the rear. Now I'm just breaking everything loose on the driver's side on the front because I want to match it up to the passenger side so we can have a nice, quick, easy alignment, because I know the passenger side should be straight. So now that I've got everything loose, the way this works is twisting this way towards the camera pulls the wheel out, and twisting this towards me pulls the wheel in. So we're gonna drop this back on the ground and try to line up our alignment that way. So this one is right where I want it at a perfect 2.5. So we can go ahead and lock everything in on this side. So we just finished everything up. I matched both sides together. I forget what the actual measurement was, but I think I should be happy with it because I got it to where it's about 1/2 inch from rubbing. Gives it a little room to play around. So now it's time to actually give it a shot, see if it works. Oh, let's play more a bit. Oh yeah, it drives so much straighter. Should we go back and see what's up? Yeah. That's good. Bet. Oh yeah, it's got an angle kit on it.
Yeah. Oh, look at this turn here. Yeah, look. Hey, get out of his way.
Should I do it? Yeah.
You got your phone on you?
Yeah.
This all out?
I know when I first slid around up there, I was gonna slide it into the lot, but a car came up on us.
Yeah. That's what I thought you were gonna do.
I got competitions coming up, so I was just dialing in my suspension, making sure everything's working right.
Fuck yeah. I mean, fuck, it seemed like it's working right.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Alright, bro. Hey, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I'll see you guys around. I'm glad I had the camera rolling. Yeah, no, I'm glad I found him because that gave me a chance to test out the alignment and see if it was rubbing or not without doing anything illegal. Because it's perfectly legal on private property. I cannot believe that happened the one time my dad left my little brother with me and trusted me not to do anything crazy with him. Nope. No leaks, we're good. I'm gonna give my tires a chance to cool off. Oh wow, look at that. Dude, these tires are crazy. These are the only tires that I had at the last event. These are the only tires I ran. I ran probably between 40 and 60 laps, non-stop. And then I just did all that, and these are barely even cooked. That is crazy. Sweet. All right, well, that's all I had for this video. We just put everything back together, fixed my tail lights, got the swirl pod, the oil cooler on, and we did the alignment. So that's all we had. Next time we'll be coming back and we'll be fixing the paint and the clear coat, hopefully, and getting the Z ready for the next event, which is in 2 weeks. So if you guys liked the video, like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't, like, unlike, whatever it is you guys do. I'll see you guys next time.